Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and today we continue talking about Chaos as we get into the Chariots of Slaughter, or the Battlefleets of the Chaos God Khorne. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We push Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Chariots of Slaughter. When Horus and his traitors rebelled against the Emperor of Mankind, him and his legions could each call upon the great armadas of the Armada Imperialis, or the ships of the Imperial Army. This was the way of the times. The Primarchs were the Emperor's most trusted lieutenants. They were the terrible young princes of the Emperor's armies, and all other men were subordinate to them. And because there was no separation between the Armada Imperialis and the Adeptus Astartes, when the traitors joined Horus, they brought much more than space marines. They brought war fleets so huge that each could transport the legions and countless millions of minions to Terra itself to confront the Emperor of Mankind. But after the War Master Horus was defeated and his rebellion squashed, the new masters of the Imperium would never let any individual hold so much power again. The great legions were reduced to chapters, a mere 1,000 space marines with specialist ships to carry their fighting strength swiftly to battle, and nothing more. And the great battleships that once transported the Space Marine legions were separated and turned into the Imperial Navy. This was expanded enormously. They were made up of disciplined human warriors whose loyalty was solely to the Golden Throne and not the Primarchs and their Space Marines. However, the traitor legions never made such a change. Instead, the ships that fled within the Eye of Terror remained there, ensuring that the forces of chaos are still organized around a respected traitor Primarch or its legion to this present day. The service of such men and women are so valuable to the Chaos Legions that they are assigned a Fleet Master position for the greatest of the War Masters of Chaos. While it's rare to find a ship captain who fought against the Emperor of Mankind 10,000 Terran years ago during the Horus Heresy, it's not impossible. The warping effects of the Immaterium have kept some of these traitors alive and in servitude to their dark lords. As servants of the ruinous powers of chaos, the traitors plundered the worlds of the Imperium and caused as much death and destruction as the Chaos Space Marines that they ferry across the galaxy. These foolhardy ship captains, their crews, and even their battleships become twisted and warped by the so-called blessings of the dark gods of chaos. But the true depravity of these once majestic armadas is how the very material essence of the ships are twisted not only by the touch of their patron god, but by the cultist crew that reshape the vessel to please their master. They will brand great heretical runes all across the ship, covering it in colors, symbols, and substances that favor their divine patron and as a testament to their great devotion. By some foul enchantment and dark rituals, demons, spirits, and other chaos entities that likewise are in the servitude of their patron may be summoned up or even granted whole areas of the ship. They are invited to dwell within their engines, sustained in the material realm by the same bound psychers and warp drive engines that once allowed the ship safe passage through the Immaterium. These beings of chaos might slumber within a warship's guns, launching fire from them with an unnatural fury, or sweep formlessly throughout the ship's deck like a wailing ghost, driving off would-be passengers, or even lurk deep within the hulls of the vessel itself, binding their own ancient malice with the intangible and resolute will of the aged machine, birthing a vessel with a true heart of chaos. For those battleships whose captain and crew have been devoted to the blood god Khorne, they become chariots of slaughter. To all but the blindest and most deranged of Khorne's followers, the need for a ship to transport them across the stars is obvious, though beyond such cold utility, even the most ancient of vessels deserve little more reverence. To Khorne's followers, such vessels are nothing more than a steed or a chariot to take them to a new field of slaughter. Where other gods might visit their blessings equally upon their followers and their machines, Khorne cares little for the beasts of steel, and it is instead upon the deranged and bloodthirsty warriors that slay in his name that Khorne's blessings fall. It is rare to spot a chariot of slaughter with more than the most basic long-range weaponry. Even a perfectly well-armed and equipped warship of Khorne may forego all weapon fire as its frenzied crew plow furiously forward, impatient to fall upon the enemy in hand-to-hand combat within the narrow confines of the enemy vessel. They are so insanely devoured by the lust for blood that some forsake any form of ranged weaponry entirely and instead populate drifting space hulks, from where they can fall upon the enemy fleet or even an entire world in an unstoppable tide of boarding actions or bloody planetary assaults, much like the Greenskins. And although this can prove to be a huge disadvantage, Khorne is not blind to the need for firepower. His fleets remain rigidly utilitarian in their regard, willingly only to utilize those weapons and those tactics which will ultimately bring them closer to their target, closer to the slaughter. It's also important to note that although the crews of these massive brass chariots are tasked with keeping the battleship operational, they are still worshippers of Khorne, and as such, they live to wage war, and to them, it doesn't matter where they fight, only that they do. Skirmishes inside huge engine rooms or hangar bays break out throughout the entire voyage. Some of these Khornic crewmen fight to gain power, others simply want the glory of martial prowess in the hope of pleasing the god of war. Through ruthless and unending slaughter, ship slaves can rise through the ranks and eventually cast off their shackles and butcher as free men. Regardless of the reason, a mortal trapped aboard a chariot of slaughter has only carnage in his future, for they have stepped into the path of skulls, and skulls is all their patron asks for. No one is safe aboard these ships. Every crewman is a target, a potential stepping stone to eternal glory. Any voidsman won't hesitate to kill their own leader to gain the favor of their god. This means that only the toughest specimens can keep the title of a captain aboard these twisted ships. Champions in their own rights. Because of this, the captains of these ships are respected by the bloodthirsty demigods known as Khornic berserkers. A captain of a chariot of slaughter has a long and gruesome kill list. They have murdered in the name of the blood god till every last shred of their morality is abandoned, and they are transformed into sadistic monsters whose only desire is to look down from the gore-splattered bridge as entire sectors are washed in blood. The role of protecting navigators and astropaths falls to the captain, a task made difficult by Khorne's hatred for the Psyker. The demonic legions of the blood god seek out these foul beings and crave their blood above most. Ship captains sequester these vital individuals and butcher any would-be assassin that attempts to collect their skulls. But make no mistake, the Psyker aboard one of Khorne's ships has a terrible life. Often chained up and placed inside tiny cages with only the barest minimum to survive. Most go insane due to the brutality and the neglect. Similar to all Chaos fleets, Khorne's ships are constantly bathed in dark energies. The clamor of battle and the stench of murder overwhelms these battleships. Most aboard these massive chariots of slaughter completely lose their sanity as they are consumed by an ever-increasing lust for violence and gore. The perfect environment to strengthen the blood god's legions even away from his realm of chaos. And those were 40 facts on the Chariots of Slaughter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. And I hope this lore inspires you to either create your own lore based around what we just talked about, or it helps you build terrain. Whenever I talk about anything related to the realm of Khorne, just talking about brass structures, rivers of blood, pools of skulls, it's just like, oh, this is like perfect for building terrain. I might get to that in the near future. Build a couple pieces for a nice Khorne themed terrain board or something like that. If you guys have any suggestions for other topics, please let me know what they are in the comment section below. What god should we talk about next? And if you guys enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It's just $1 a month. You can support us too. The link is down in the description below. If not, we have custom objective markers. Link in the description below too. It's just an eBay sell. There's a limited amount, so once they're gone, they're gone. If you guys are looking to come up with like a good Christmas present for somebody, a really cool objective marker would be awesome. Again, link in the description below. It helps out the channel and it gives you some cool stuff. But thanks for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh,